I started to make some notes for this. Started to bullet out what I wanted to talk about, what I was going to say. And the more I did that, the more I realized that I was tweaking the message and I was overthinking it. So I am just going to rap straight to you, speak from my heart, because something is going on that I cannot ignore. This process for transformation, for true transformation, is ugly as hell. So let's talk about this. I get the feeling sometimes that certain people might think I was born with more willpower than them, or I naturally had good habits already and I just amplified them through this process. And that could not be further from the truth. It could not be further. And according to society, media especially, there's quick fixes out there. There's, drop 10 pounds in 10 days and, get your dream body on Ozempic, whatever it is. There's all these quick fixes. So our brains are wired to be distracted easily, to move on to the next thing easily. The problem with that is we never get to the root of what's causing the pain in our lives. We just keep covering it up. We throw another drug on it. We throw another free challenge on it, another program, another coach. And it never works. So the reason why I coach is not because I got NASM certified. It's not because I'm a fitness enthusiast and I want to go help people do their workouts. That's great for people that are like that. I do this because I am obsessed with leveling up in my life. I'm obsessed with it. If I had another job, I would be crappy at that job because I would spend my whole time probably doing research on my computer to see how can I break through faulty beliefs? How can I reprogram my thinking? How can I become my future self that's going to be so much more powerful than these shoes that I'm in right now? I wouldn't be good at another job. This is why I coach. I coach because there was a point in my life where I had to set my alarm early so I could get up, get enough vodka in my system so that I wouldn't be sick and I can get my kid to school. So if I can go from that to being an IFBB pro, coaching women, helping them with their mindsets, how the hell can you not change? Because you're expecting it to be pretty. You're expecting it to be easy. Okay, so this is where I'm going to get into it. A new coach is not the ticket. And I can feel this sometimes when I'm on initial calls with people. I can tell that they're super fans. They're like really excited. They've been following me and it's a fun conversation, right? Especially for me. I love being told how great I am. But I'm not their solution. I'm not that solution. I can guide them to the solution, but I can't give them motivation. And a lot of times people think they're supposed to feel motivated before they do the work, and it doesn't work like that. You have to do the work. The motivation will come the more you step into that identity. You're not going to have that identity and be motivated in the beginning. In fact, you're going to have more hard days than you're going to have easy days. You're going to have a lot of thoughts of giving up. But I think the difference between me and you is going back was not an option. And there's something that happens in the mediocre world, I'll say. And I truly feel bad for these people because they're average and they're not in enough pain to really get out of it. Like they're still enjoying their wine at night. They're still enjoying gossiping with their friends. They're still comfortable. They know they could be better, but they're still comfortable. I can't help those people. I'll be blunt. I can't help them. And, they're not wanting to help themselves. And that's fine. That doesn't make me mad. That's fine. But what makes me mad is when women are in so much pain. They have so many bad habits. They're killing their spirit and they give up. They go back to that. It's ludicrous. And it's not how it should be. You have solutions, but they're ugly. Like the process is not pretty and it's fucking hard. Excuse my language, but that's the only way I can say it. It's hard. Even when I talk to women, sometimes the story of their past is so strong that I'll start to believe them. I'll start to say, oh yeah, maybe you did have it harder than me. Maybe you're not as able, to do what other people do. And I'm like, hold up. And then I go back to myself setting my alarm for 4 a.m. to get up and drink so I can take my kid to school. I was a full-blown alcoholic. And with that came tremendous amounts of trauma. I've been through shit. I've been through hell. I've been through times in my life that I would rather be dead than have to go through again. But I did not go back. I did not go back. So in a lot of ways, I am grateful for that pain because it was so great. I couldn't go back. That wasn't an option. I will die before I go back. So what that did is that put me in a position where I was willing to do anything to change. And I became obsessed with transformation. I was constantly looking for solutions. Even when I didn't want to do stuff, I did it anyway. And it's hard. I cried a lot. I screamed in pillows. I would shake. My anxiety would be so bad. And I would hide. I would have my hands in here and I'd just be shaking, doing regular jobs. I always accepted low pay. I didn't go for jobs that I was qualified for a while because I felt like I wasn't worthy of them. I had to do the work to get to where I was running my own business. And when you do this work, you get into this space where it becomes really obvious when you're resisting it. Nothing's stopping you but you. You'll get to this point if you stick with it. And it's the feeling like you're on the edge of a cliff. All you have to do is push yourself forward. Like that's the answer, is to push yourself off. I know it sounds kind of funny. You know how hard it is to push yourself off that ledge. You almost need a friend to come behind you and just, shock you into it. That's the same feeling I have every day, you guys. Every day. I don't have a day off of that feeling where I know there is so much more opportunity in front of me that I haven't tapped into yet. And it's so scary to me. It's so scary, but going back isn't an option. Not going back 1 year, sure as hell not going back 10 years. So I got to get off that ledge. I have to step into the next version. And everything in my nature, in the nature outside of me, is trying to stop that because it's scary. We would rather self-sabotage by nature than do something different because at least we know the outcome if we do what we've always done. If I go and I buy, a case of beer, I know what's going to happen. But if I get in front of hundreds of women and share my story and tell them that they can do it too, they might ridicule me. They might tell me I'm a fraud. They might hate me. It's scary. It would be so much easier today, as I'm talking to you, to go to the store and get some booze, but I refuse. I'm going to start using that. Get some booze, but I refuse. This is not easy for me. It never has been. So if you're expecting this to be easy now that you have a coach, or to be smooth sailing now that you have a plan, you're in for an awakening. I'll say that. You're in for an awakening. You are not changing unless you're uncomfortable. And if you really want to change on a deep level, you're going to get really uncomfortable. I want you to imagine a radical preacher. Imagine going into his church or her church and convincing that person that they're wrong about everything. Do you think that's going to take a few minutes? Do you think that's going to take a pill? That's going to take years. It's a process. You would have to spend so much intentional time with that person. You would have to give that person new experiences. You would have to change the way that that person believes. So in this process, you do that with yourself. You have to spend that time sitting in the uncomfortable feelings. If you're struggling, you might feel like you're choking, asking for help, but you have to force the words out. I need help. Just say it. Once it's out, it's out. You don't have to worry about it. It's there. So there's so much intention and hard work you have to do in this process. You feel lonely. You feel really lonely. Here's another example. I was really lonely in this. No one understood what I was trying to do, except maybe my counselor. But I can't hang out with my counselor. So I was lonely. I was a loner for a long time. I ended up building a network filled with thousands of women who want to power up their lives. I'm about to cry thinking about it because I needed that. I needed powerful women in my life. So I built a fucking community of them. So don't come to me and say, I wish I had friends like you. Or, man, like you have such an awesome community. I wish I could have that. You can. You can. Build it. Create it. Imagine it at least. Do you think that I just sat back and I just said, I really wish that like this just amazing community of women would form and I would be a coach and I would get to help people and support my family through it. And then I opened my eyes and it was there? No. I had to do some really uncomfortable work. You know how many times I sat in front of this camera and talked until I was this comfortable to sit in front of this camera and talk? Go back and look at my old videos. They're awkward as hell. The work is uncomfortable. It takes a lot longer than anyone expects. I'm 8 years into my bodybuilding journey, and I am nowhere close to where I want to be. I never will be. So expect it to be brutal. Expect it to be hard. The harder it is, the more it's going to pay off. I'm going to end with this. My life today is more beautiful than my past self could ever have imagined because of that brutal hard work. I promise you that. I promise you, if you sit in the uncomfortable feelings, if you do what you're terrified of doing because you know it's the direction you want to go, you are going to be in a place that's so beyond what you can imagine right now. I promise you. This is the last thing I want you to imagine, because this will happen. Within you and the environment around you, things are going to start to happen to keep you where you are. It's safe. It's comfortable. We just talked about that, right? You have to resist and go in a different direction no matter how fucking hard it is. No matter how hard it is, you have to go in that direction. Sometimes I feel almost like I'm blindfolded in the dark and I'm just like praying that I'm going to land where I want to be. And I do. It's scary. The other thing that'll happen is you'll start self-sabotaging. You'll start finding things to do that distract you from what you need to do. So you'll start dusting your house. All of a sudden you'll start painting a room. You'll start scrolling. That's a big culprit. And you'll physically start to feel, say these are the bad habits right here, the ones you're trying to get out of and you're trying to change. You will physically feel yourself like an energy force pulled back. And the harder the process gets, the more you're going to, be pulled back to that direction. When you feel that, be grateful because you're changing. If you can resist that, and it's freaking hard, you guys. I don't know if I've said that enough, but it's hard. Resist that. You don't have to do it perfect. You don't have to do this. You can screw up. You can even go back as long as you come back off and you try again. You will feel this force field. That's trying to keep that equilibrium. That's trying to keep you where you've always been. You have got to resist. You got to push through that resistance. Just like you build muscles in the gym, you got to build those muscles in your life. If it's hard, it's good. You are growing from it. If you went into the gym and you started training and it wasn't hard, nothing would change. So this message is meant to be an encourager for you to say, quit quitting. This is hard as hell for me, and it's going to be hard as hell for you. But you know what? You have access to everything you need to make these changes already. It's only you who's stopping you from tapping into that. So don't stop yourself anymore. Let it be ugly. Let it be hard. Don't ever go back. I love you. You got this.